Hi, I'm Jennifer Bilbrey, and this is On Our Minds, a podcast and vlog about psychotherapy in Austin, Texas. Today I'll be interviewing Adam Maurer, a psychotherapist in Austin, Texas, who specializes in working with the LGBTQ+ community. We're going to be talking about how he works with this population and specifically about how politics and culture affect this population and his work with this population.
So, we have old-timey racists that we know that would burn a cross on your yard. And that was pretty obvious to everyone. This is a clear message. Microaggressions nowadays is really when we have incidents happen and in that moment, if you're the target of the microaggression, you kind of go, is this because
of this happened?
Yeah, is this because of the community I belong to? Is this because I'm a woman or because I'm gay or because I'm a person of color? What is this about?
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of energy. So
it can be exhausting.
Yeah, right? I mean, imagine if you're standing in line and someone waits on the person behind you and you're like, is this because I'm a woman? Is this because...
Right.
You genuinely didn't see me? And then by the time you suss it all out, who do you talk to about it?
Yeah.
Besides other people in your community.
Yeah. It's making me think about what we were talking about earlier about allostatic load and coming home and dinner's not ready. If you've had...
Yeah, lots of those experiences.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's just one way that it adds up and adds up. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the way that some of the microaggressions look like in our community, I would say if you work someplace and they don't offer partner benefits.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So if they haven't nowadays everyone's can be married, so it's changed. But wait, how old am I? It just took us back. Yeah. But no, I mean there are certainly places that are much more inclusive.
Yeah.
And you can. Yeah. I teach clients how to suss that out, how to look at a website. I'm do you see people who look like you?
Oh.
Did they specifically talk about having partner benefits, or did they say husband and wife? Reading through the lines is a way to understand, is this a good fit for me?
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure of the segue from this to the other question I had, the last question I have.
That's okay.
But it has to do with the role religion plays.
Yeah.
It
is
a
tricky one.
Yeah, right, because as we were saying, they can either be a source of support or really damaging to people. I think it's important to recognize there can be both. So it's not just damaging.
No. That's true. It is a process.
Yeah.
So I think for a lot of folks, and this is my experience, so I'm going to talk about it pretty intimately.
Okay.
If you grow up and you realize you're different and you should feel shame about how you're different, you look outside of yourself for validation.
Yes.
And one way to be validated is, if there's a religious institution that says this is how you get validated. So you go do those things, you go be the best you can, and you get validation that doesn't really validate you because there's a part of you that you're hiding. And in that process, maybe you feel good enough eventually to come out. And then that religious institution's response to your coming out can be devastating. Yeah. So my experience was when I first came out at church, they tried to pray my gay away with peppermint oil.
Oh, you're kidding. How old were you?
I was probably 16. Yeah. And then it didn't take, right? So I was all excited.
And who did you tell?
Oh, I told the youth pastor.
Okay.
So I was all excited. God's going to change this in me. Go home. Hold out for 2 weeks of not exploring my sexuality.
Wait, Adam. So when you told your youth pastor, were you saying it as this is a problem and I need to tell you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
I need your help with this problem I have.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's, they used to do a call to the altar type stuff.
Okay. So he said...
Yeah.
We'll
pray this
away.
Yeah.
We'll put some peppermint oil on you.
Yeah, there was anointing oil,
okay,
which makes me laugh.
I
who knew
bet
peppermint oil would be so...
will never have the same.
So I went home, and for 2 weeks I white knuckled it, and then then I explored my sexuality in myself, and I felt absolutely terrible. God didn't fix me. And so I had to
Because in those 2 weeks it didn't go away.
Yeah. So I thought this was supposed to work.
Yeah.
So eventually I went to undergrad, and there I went to counseling, and in counseling, that's how I came out and accepted myself.
Wow.
But I still was in doing a lot of work in like the God Squad. Like I was Adam Maurer, super Christian, hard to believe. Yeah.
Yes.
As someone now who like does like fetish and kink work as part of like their sex therapy, yes. But I was like into it, and
what did you do?
I worked at I did Young Life. I worked at like a Young Life camp, and so I went back to one of the camps after I'd really come out to myself and accepted myself. And at that camp, when I told them that I was gay, the camp director told me I would have to go to therapy or be fired. And so
therapy to fix it.
Yeah.
To make it go away.
Well, I think that's what he thought it was going to be.
Okay.
But we were like a small mountain town, so there was only like 2 therapists, and they were actual therapists.
Oh.
They were married, so that was even funnier. So it was really just a space for me to go and be like, I cannot believe these assholes.
Yeah.
They say they love everyone but me. And so after that, like, I kind of made my own...
And your therapist at the time could join you in that, could validate that.
I mean, he was definitely not... He was friendly. He was definitely not LGBTQ knowledgeable.
Okay.
So after all that...
What a process.
Yeah, I accepted myself and made my own peace with my religion. But in our community, there are people who have had similar experiences, and people who have been far more hurt than I was. I mean, people who have gone to like conversion camps, been held down against their will, things like that. People who have been beaten as a way to try to change it.
And that's happening in other parts of the world now.
Yeah. I mean, there are
to this day.
systems where people would send their kids who are trying to figure out their sexuality to other countries where this is allowable and have that go on. Yeah. So some people in our community have a real chip on their shoulder when it comes to religion, right? I mean, imagine like the first place you maybe learn to accept yourself, and then you take the healthy risk of showing all yourself and you get rejected.
Of course.
It's really damaging.
Yeah.
Other people have found that like religious spaces have been really wonderful. It's created community. It's given them connection and purpose. Support, it's kind of tricky nowadays because of marriage equality. It's like before in our community, there was much more freedom to determine what you want your relationships to look like. And I think with marriage equality, part of a setback that came is that there's now more of a heteronormative understanding of what it is to be in a relationship. So there's a lot more people who are like, oh, well, now I can get married, so I'll just, find a guy, have 2.5 children, and settle down.
Okay.
Rather than going, oh, I can create any relationship I want.
I can think about it and get curious about it.
Yeah, and explore it. So I think there's a lot more people in our community who feel that pressure now.
Yeah.
That like this is the way to like live. But in reality, my tribe has been making their own relationships since the dawn of time. Yes. Like we've been around forever. And there's a part of me that's sad at that because it's missing the beauty in being able to say, what do I really want?
Yeah.
What matters to me in relationships and sex, and how do I get that out of life?
Yeah. What you're talking about a little bit points to something that I've always thought is so cool about queer relationships that straight relationships can learn from, is that sense of it's collaborative. Like, we're going to talk about how we share chores in this house, and we're going to talk about, I mean, I don't know, but
just the sex you want to have.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like, it's more collaborative, and there's a sense of that. And that is something that straight people can learn a lot from. People in straight relationships can learn a lot from.
I can't tell you how many people I work with where I'm like, oh, your relationship sexism is fucking things up.
Yeah.
And let me tell you why. She's been taught not to say what she really wants. And so you just say what you want, and she goes with it, and then it comes out sideways this way.
Yeah.
And they're like, really?
Oh.
I know. Yeah. And I have to help a lot of straight dudes out, so we'll like have conversations.
Yeah.
She'll ask a question, and there's this big gap, and I'm like, dude, you're fucking up. She's already filling that gap with negative self-doubt and worth. So if you need space to process and think about this, you gotta ask for it.
Yeah.
Don't don't fuck it up.
But what I was hearing you say is that sense of collaboration maybe might be being more limited lately. Yeah. Okay.
And that the sense that there's kind of like one way to be in our community.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's heartbreaking to me.
That is heartbreaking.
Because I think if anything, I valued the freedom that comes with making your own path.
Yeah.
So.
Isn't it funny how American culture, like all the mixed messages we get in American culture, because that statement, making your own path, is such an American value, you know? And yet when it comes to marriage, kids, you know, relationships, there is very little making your own path.
Yeah. So one of my specialties is non-exclusive relationships.
Okay.
And one of the things I talk about with folks is we have this myth in our culture about love. That like somehow in a relationship, like you're only supposed to have feelings and love for like one person that are romantic.
And that person's going to meet all your needs.
Yeah, they
magically, yeah.
They better be a unicorn.
Yes.
But in friendship, we don't have that. So I'm like, what is it about romance that we say this has to be this way? Yes. You can have a friendship here with this person, that's great, and it doesn't challenge the friendship you have over here.
Yeah.
But we say that about like loving someone in a romantic way. So it's a lot of times being able to like take what we've been given as a culture and just say, cool, is this useful? Does this work for me? Does it serve me? And if it doesn't, what do I want to do about that?
Yeah.
So I'm really working to push people to go, who I really am.
Yeah, think about the question.
Yeah.
Not make assumptions about it, but think about it.
So what if something like whether you be monogamous or non-exclusive, what if that really came down to being more like an orientation in itself? That some people are more geared towards being non-exclusive. Some people are more geared towards being monogamous.
Yeah.
If you allow that to be a conversation for people to have,
right,
it gets a lot easier to negotiate what you want in dating.
Yes.
Same thing with like fetishes and kinks. I think those can get to a point where that becomes its own orientation for some folks. It's like, this is just so much a piece of who I am.
Yeah.
So let me get comfortable talking about it.
Yeah.
And so there's a part of me that fears as things become a little bit more heteronormative that we'll lose that ability to have those conversations.
Sure. Yeah. It's great that I hadn't thought about it that way, Adam. It's really helpful to have that in mind.
Thanks. You invite a queer, open, fluid person. It's going to get progressive.
But it is helping me think about just how important it is the part of the work in therapy, any good therapy, is the ability to like get curious and ask questions about what is it that I want and not make assumptions. Yeah. And how many assumptions as therapists we just automatically make without even knowing it or thinking about it.
Yeah, projecting. Oh my goodness.
Right.
It's because I do so much work around non-exclusive relationships. I get a lot of questions about like jealousy and stuff like that, and I'm like, cool. Like, there's actually a lot written about jealousy, and there's even the opposite of jealousy, which is called compersion, which is like the excitement.
Compersion?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never heard of this word.
It's the excitement you might feel out of having your partner connect with someone else that you're not connecting with. So like when my husband hangs out with his boyfriend, there's a part of me that's really excited because I know that boyfriend offers something that I cannot.
And that's compersion.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So then he comes back to me and we get to like reconnect, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
And he gets to have his whole self feel fulfilled, which I'm going to celebrate with him.
Yes.
And understand, like, I can't be that dude.
Yeah.
I am a highfalutin, like, lots of thoughts, lots of emotion queer. That person is none of those things. I'm never going to be that.
Yeah.
So I just appreciate that he gets to be loved fully. He gets to, like, get to experience all that there is on earth.
Yeah.
I mean, we're only here for a finite amount of time.
Yes.
So to deny a partner or someone you love an experience that's connecting and loving, to me, I'm like, whew, isn't there just enough cruelty?
Yeah. Yeah. How long did it take you and your husband to get to that place?
Yeah, so we dated for a long time and got engaged, and it wasn't actually until we got married, so about 5 years ago. After we got married, I think he felt secure enough to say, cool, I get that you are here. And there are things for me that he is just like, that's not my wheelhouse. That's not what I'm about. And I kind of joke that like, I'm at least a 2-person job. Like, she's got a lot of needs. She knows who she is. It's fabulous. And so, you know, it took work. I actually did a bedpost confession about this. It's a podcast.
Oh, great.
It's filmed here in Austin. And yeah, I talked about opening up and the challenges in that.
Okay.
But what was great about it is at the end, through all the hardship, we realized how far our love could stretch.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier then.
Could still be together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then now it's like, oh, that's you did this thing. Like we've been to the edge.
Yeah.
We're okay.
Yeah, it must be a very strong, secure feeling.
Yeah. So there's a part of me that's like that's something that our community oftentimes creates, not just in romantic or erotic relationships, but just in deep, meaningful friendships.
Yeah.
I mean, I have friendships. I've seen people who have friendships that are like family to people in our community.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's one of the beautiful things is like we can have chosen family.
Yeah. Do you think that that's changing at all?
I think for some people, sure. Like it's that again sense of as things move towards everything's got to be this heteronormative narrative. It's harder than to pick your family.
Yeah.
Texas is interesting because
Interesting is one way of putting it.
Yeah, because we have a lot of conservative people. So I think Austin tends to be like our little like escape for folks in our state. And so a lot of people come here and look to develop connection and community. And then sometimes have to go back out into a place that isn't so accepting.
Yeah.
So it's figuring out like how do you create a connection that keeps you from going over the edge when you're in that state. Yeah.
Adam, thank you so much for this. Is there any question I didn't ask that you wish I would have? Is there anything burning in you to talk about now? I think we covered everything on my list.
Cool. I think the thing that's important for any clinician is just to realize that you can't fully get it, and that is okay. If you're not in it, you can't fully get it, and no one's going to fault you for that. Yeah. What your role is in that time is simply to just say, I don't get it, but I want to get it as much as I can. And that is so powerful to people who have learned to hide who they are. Yeah. So you don't have to know everything.
Love that idea.
Yeah, you just have to know enough to give people space.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's making me tear up.
She gets emotional. There's lots of emotions.
Okay. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah,
this was really insightful and helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This was On Our Minds, a podcast and vlog about psychotherapy in Austin, Texas. Learn more and see more episodes on my website at www.jenniferbilbrey.com.